had to lie, didn't you, Esau?
Hey, dude.
You just had to lie, didn't you, Esau? You just had to lie, didn't you, Esau?
Hey,
Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praises to Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Got to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone led me to this truth, and been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect and to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, we part of that number. Lord willing, this be edifying to those who fear the name of the Lord and are striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, it is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9 is unto a ring. 2 Peter chapter 5, verse 42. Shalom, Makayaahlaba, y'all tuning in the comment board. Shalom, love. Yahweh Shem Al Shah Brakatham. Yahweh Shem Al Shah Brakatham. And everybody else who come on the comment board, come along. You know, all you brothers out there, coming back to the ways of Yahweh Shem Al Shah and serving the Lord to the best of our abilities. Shalom, Ak Yahweh Shem Al Shah Brakatham. So, it was a dream that I had this morning, and I want to go over it a little bit because it made a lot of sense in the spirit to me. It was real vivid, you know. But first, you know, when you see that intro, it talks about how, you know, in that movie, that little clip of Everybody Hates Chris, right, where he comes up to him and is like, yeah, you just had to lie, Esau, right? And that was like kind of spiritual for me because, you know, just the other day, Elder Apostle Tahar, he came across with this video. It was kind of spiritual to me that I just came across that little clip that the other elder did, because, you know, he makes those little clips, and he did that one like a year ago. So it's just kind of, you know, spiritual to me to see that the elder came up with this movie. Okay, it said, oh boy, he is black now, right? So-called black, another stumbling block for the 2/3. So that's kind of cool that, you know, that they were showing these kind of things that were going to come, you know, that Esau was going to try to do, and he was trying to hint it in that little video clip. And hear him trying to have a whole doctrine talking about Esau is basically Jake, like trying to switch it up, you know, now that, you know, he's being uncovered and he's being made hidden bare. So I'm gonna post that video in the comment board. You should go watch it. It's very edifying. Shows you where to get it from, but that's really not what I want to deal with. But I just want to put that little point out as a land back, just, you know, because that's what's going around in the elders and apostles view right now that the Lord's got them dealing with. So, you know, you should go watch that and get edified. So now I'm gonna get back to this dream. Okay, and I was at a school, and it was like a ghetto school. Like it was kind of ran down. A lot of Jake was in there, and they were showing me around the school. Okay, like the teachers, but you know how you got those teachers, how like you could tell they don't care about the kids, and it shows in like some of the stuff that they do. Like especially, you know how we all used to go to recess before they started making it where we couldn't go out to recess no more. Because over here in Oklahoma, we used to be able to go out to recess for like an hour, and we used to go play football, basketball, do whatever we wanted to do, and then eventually they took it away. But we were out there And like, I was sitting in the back watching all the kids run out, and they started all playing soccer together. But they didn't have no goal. It was just right out in the middle of the open, just some backyard somewhere. But they wasn't playing soccer with like a soccer ball. They was playing with like a little. They was playing with like a little. Like it was like a tiny little like ball. It wasn't. It was like like one of those little tiny little balls that you could like that was a little heavy, but it wasn't heavy. It was like one of those, and they were playing with that. And for some reason, I got up and was like, you know what, let me play with him. I started playing with him. Okay, but I was like an older Jake. And, we was going back and forth, and we started having fun and whatever, and we ended up playing for a long time. Like it didn't seem like it was a long time, but I could tell it was a long time because it started getting dark. Okay, and it was during the daytime when we started playing. And once I got done, I was like, all right, and I was talking to one of them. He was like one of those Jakes in there. He was like a little older than the other Jakes, but he was still a young child. He was, he maybe looked like he was like 12, 13. And like he seemed like he was like kind of the guy everybody looked up to, all the kids, all the children. So like we're playing or whatever, and after we got done, I was like, all right, man, we looked like we talked a little bit, and I was like, all right, man, I gotta go back to class. I'm running late, right? I guess I was in school or something, but really, like spiritually to me, this work as a disciple, you are a student, and this is school. Every time you go work at the plantation and do your regular job, when you come home, you got to come to class. Okay, you got to come back to the class, learn more about the Lord. You got homework. You got to study and look and watch and see what's going on in the earth. Put in scriptures in that. Deal with various things outside of that. Go and do extra credit. Go learn other things that maybe not even pertain to right now. We trying to get a full understanding of the word because we're teachers. Okay, we're teachers, so we want to be those valuable students who know things. Know everything about the Lord and our history. Because it's an amazing thing to go back into the history of Israel when you get the chance, because it really opens up and widens your understanding of Yahweh Shem and Yahweh Shai as you go into the things that are happening now and how we got here. So, like I'm talking to this little Jake, and we walking down the street, and I'm like, man, I gotta get going. But I was like, I was walking down the street, and for some reason I didn't have my shoes on. Okay, so I was like, yeah, I don't got my shoes on. I gotta go back and get my shoes. And the little Jake, he said, oh, so you just all about folly. You don't even remember nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I do work 6 days a week too. And then he was like, oh, well, dang, you must really know the deal. You must really know the struggle. So it kind of changed his appearance about me through my mistake that I made, through my diligence. Okay, so he kind of seen that, and I went back over there and I started grabbing my stuff, and we was talking. Okay, so but the thing I want to point out is it was a good thing that I left my shoes, because we ended up having a deeper conversation when we went back. Okay, because it started getting darker. He started putting out his true feelings towards life. Okay, and I was telling him a little bit of my mind, like, yeah, I work 6 days a week. I go to school. Which for me, school is like the truth. Sometimes I stay up all night studying. And, I was just like, yeah, man, this is the right way to go. You gotta work for a living. You gotta do these kind of things. And I was like, I used to smoke weed. I used to sell weed, but I don't do that no more, man. I used to do that kind of stuff. I used to be out here in wickedness like that, and that's what I was telling him. I was like, you don't want to do that stuff, and he was like, oh man, I wish I was still doing it. Like he had done it before. He was like, yeah, I wish I was still doing it. That's the dream job. So that's the point that I wanted to bring across, because he said that, and I told him, I said, nah, man, that ain't what you're supposed to do. And then I woke up. Okay, but it's just to show, like, this is how young Jake think, man. They think that this life is a dream. Okay, to be a drug dealer or be a scammer or be able to rob people and get away with it all the time, and just especially their own people, because really that's the main offense, but my whole point was, he doesn't understand that this dream life he believes is a trap. And that's how Jake is, man. And once they learn that at a young age, this is where you get these drug dealers, and you get these people who grow up to be that way. Okay, because I didn't grow up in like super harsh conditions. Because my family moved me from out of Mississippi to here. But when I was in Mississippi, that's all that was there, man. A bunch of Jakes in the ghetto, man, selling drugs, man, because they don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that all of them are like that. Of course, we got, big brothers in GMS Mississippi, but it ain't a lot. The majority of people that's out there, they think that selling drugs and stuff is a dream job, man. But this is the dream job, okay? Even working to have enough money to do this dream job is what we strive for. This is the best job that you could have, is being a servant of the Lord. So I want to just pull up some precepts about it and just kind of go into this trap that Jake's in. Okay, but they can't see the danger. They can't see the trap in front of them. Okay, so they think it's really like, something cool to do. This is Psalms chapter 69, verse 22. And it reads, let their table, this is David speaking, let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. And this is kind of twofold, because this is really talking about the truth, and for 2/3 it's became a trap. Why? Because they can't believe it and don't want to follow it. 2/3 of our people, they don't want to believe and understand that this world is a trap. It's to trap you in sin. Okay, and to keep you sinning. And on the other way, that our people use drug dealing and those things for welfare, okay, for things to make them comfortable, and it ends up becoming a trap. It ends up becoming something that keeps them stuck in this wicked world, man, and they can't progress. Okay, because let's say you do make enough money selling drugs. As soon as you get caught up, that's it, you through. And Esau Edom knows, if you selling the whole time, because they're the ones bringing in the drugs. Okay, they're the ones who have all the traffic. How we get, all that drugs in here? Okay, we can't even, we live paycheck to paycheck. Ain't no Jake bringing in that many drugs, man. It's Esau Edom, man. That's why they are out in the ghettos. They didn't have enough. That one didn't even have enough to afford a soccer ball. How he come across some trees and start selling trees, man? You see what I'm saying? It's all Esau Edom laying that snare for our people. So Job chapter 18 verse 10, the snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. See? That's how it is. That's what Esau Edom does. He sets up these things to make them look like heaven, but they really hell, because we in hell, man. Okay, and young Jake can't see that, so they got to be guided, man. They have to be guided and be taught correctly, or they're going to grow up and be, just super wicked, man. We need structure in our lives, and that's why Esau Edom made the ghettos and made the poors, because they know there's no structure there. And Jake will just do whatever the fuck he got to do to survive. Okay, which means what? Promotes wickedness, and they make money off of that, man. So Ecclesiasticus chapter 27 verse 26, whoso diggeth the pit shall fall therein, and he that setteth the trap shall be taken therein. And this is concerning, false doctrine, false teachers, but also if you're selling drugs and doing stuff like that, you're digging yourself in a pit too. If you're doing things that are not of the Lord, man, you're putting yourself in a pit. Okay? And you're setting and Esau Edom is setting that trap for you to get taken, okay? To end up in what? End up in jail, going through the court system all the time, being subject to payments, and they calling young Jake the criminal, but who brought the drugs in? Y'all ain't getting in no trouble. You see? So this is just to know, like, this is not our rest, man. We can't try to fit in and trim our ways to seek loves from this devil. We got to stay away from his devices. That's what he'll do. He'll put the drugs in Jake's hand and then be like, oh, you criminal. How could you do that? But somehow they go down there and find another Jake, and he got 7 AR-15s and 100 pounds of weed. How did his broke ass get that? That don't make no sense. Psalms chapter 104 verse 5. It says 140. Psalms 140 verse 5. You know, I only got a couple more precepts. I didn't want to take too long. So I got another lesson I want to do for camp, Lord willing. Psalms chapter 140 verse 5. The proud have hid a snare for me. See, it's a trap. And cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. That debt, basically, that debt, all the stuff that to trap you into chasing the bag that's filled with holes, like it says in Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6. They have set gins for me. Selah. Okay, that's another thing, another song that David, the King David was singing. Okay, that's what these people did. They set traps for young Jake to fall in, man. And that's why, even and me, I'm still considered a young Jake. I'm 31 years old. I ain't that old, So this is it was edifying for me to see that, as people start to wake up out of this truth, you're gonna come across young Jakes like that, man. And Lord willing, the Lord puts the spirit on them to come to the light of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So Psalm chapter 10 verse 10, he croucheth and humbleth himself. It's talking about Esau Edom. That the poor may fall by his strong one. Now that part talking about the poor, that's talking about Israel. Okay? And that's what he's got them doing. He's got all these rappers that are selling drugs and driving around in nice cars and really, those Jakes ain't really selling drugs like that. They're not. And when they do, eventually Esau does the same thing to them. You see some of these drug dealers going to jail for carrying weapons and having drugs in they bus and like, what are you talking about? You telling them to promote that. So now you're going to arrest them and say they bad for it? Like, you the one who authorizing them to do it. You the one who gave them their black card. The little, and if you don't know what a black card is in the celebrity world, it's like a card that you can get from Esau Edom, and basically you can buy anything. There's no limit on it. It's just like basically a gift pass to the fun fair of America, Babylon the Great. Okay, and that's the whole thing about it. These are Esau Edom's little, his little minions. Okay, 2/3 of our people are following them. Okay, and Esau Edom's paying them to do wickedness and getting the poor young Jakes in the hood. They getting them to fall for that stuff, man. So now we're gonna do the Proverbs. I got a couple more precepts. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 27. And it reads, the ungodly man diggeth up evil, and in his lips there is as a burning fire. Okay, because it's nothing but traps, right? So that's why they try to raise them up when they're younger to be ungodly men. A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. You don't want to, whisper and talk about, other people, especially brothers. We try to mind our own business in all affairs. If it ain't got nothing to do with us, hey, we don't worry about it. Verse 29, a violent man enticeth his neighbor and leadeth him into the way that is not good. And that's what Jake does, because, Jake's basically, we're neighbors, okay? But the only ones who are truly your neighbor are the ones in this truth, okay? But these violent men, they entice their neighbors, these other people, and they lead them into a way that's not good. And what's revolved around that drug dealing life? It's revolved around gang violence and, all that other kind of stuff once you start getting more into it, okay? And that's what they got set up for Jake. But these young Jakes, they don't understand, because that's all they know. Until the Lord comes, and the Lord got to come to them. You can't come to the Lord. He said, I'll come to you. I will choose you. I chose you. You didn't choose me. So we're glad that the Lord came and pulled us out of that understanding, because all of us at a point were looking at Esau Edom's kingdom and was like, oh, this is the dream right here. Okay, and even if it wasn't drug dealing, there was something else that was a trap. Like chasing for the bag your whole life just to get a nice picket fence and a dog in a car or whatever, 2 cars. All those people are struggling right now. They were talking about the people who made $150,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. They realizing that they just nothing but slaves for Esau, man. So this is Psalm chapter 38, verse 12. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. That's all they do. They try to catch up Jake and doing something wrong, okay? And they go give him the devices to do wrong, and then they blame it on him, just like it did at the beginning of that video, where Jake was sitting on the curb, and then Esau come out like, yeah, you shouldn't have lied. Esau try to be real slick and say something real fast and run off, okay? You know, but that was kind of spiritual because it showed little Jake down there reading a newspaper, you know, like he was, that's usually like what Esau does. He'll sit down and read his little daily news and just be all the way in the matrix, okay, and just be blinded from the truth, okay, and be in the world. You know, it's kind of how I see it, but that's just me. Me thinking, seeing as a man, kind of interpreting this dream that the Lord gave me this morning. So Psalm chapter 10, verse 2, the wicked in his pride persecute the poor, right? Let them be taken in the devices they have imagined. See, they have imagined certain things to keep Jake trapped in a poor state of thinking that he is not the sons of the living power, man. And that's why they gravitate towards his drugs and all these other things, okay? But mainly the drugs, and want to be a basketball player, or want to be a star or something. Because, I was good at sports too. I was pretty well-rounded. I could play basketball, football, I could play baseball, I could play soccer, I could play just about anything. But I was really good at basketball. But I liked playing for the love. I didn't go watch the games and was all big on stats and whatnot. I just, I like playing basketball. So I'm glad the Lord gave me like a mind to where I didn't get too deep into trying to chase that stuff, man. Psalm chapter 35, verse 4, let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. That's Psalm chapter 35, verse 4. And that's what Esau Edom does. He thinks all day about how to catch us, lacking and put us in a situation that we can't get out of, man. And we end up becoming, more in debt to have to pay this man, for things that really, like, the only reason why that stuff is happening because they're promoting it, man. So we just got to make sure that we focus on Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And, this basically is just, kind of explaining, my dream. These young Jakes out here, they don't know better, man, in the ghetto. So that's why the elders and apostles in them, they tell you there ain't no reason to go to the ghetto, man. They ain't going to understand, man. Even if you try to break it down to how much, we got even our own people that's never been in the ghetto and they don't even understand. We can't bring nobody to the truth. Only the Lord can bring you to this truth. And He's gonna visit you personally. That's how He did with me. I was right in the middle of work at Amazon, in the middle of an attic, okay, and He came to me. And it's all up to you whether you want to follow that voice or you want to let it slip. So that concludes a dream I had this morning. Young Jake in the ghetto, don't know any better. So shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praises to Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I gotta give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone led me to this truth, and been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who part of the elect and to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, we part of that number. Lord willing, this be edifying to those who fear the name of the Lord and striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, and it's not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9 is unto a ring. 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 42, Wa Abad Babal, the water for everybody to in. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakathum. Lord willing, those edifying to those out there who have just been tuning in and seeking the Lord. And as we come together in the end of these days to offend less and to get more closer to Yahweh Shai and get a better understanding of the vision of what it means to be a Hebrew Israelite. We want to be better a better servant in this truth, because we're all servants. The Akwath and the Akim, we're all servants in some way to the Lord, and there's something that we can do to apply ourselves on a daily basis to become stronger servants. You know, that's what this place is built for us to be great servants for the Lord. So Shalom, Kwam Yasharahla, Lord willing is edifying. Shalom.